in the category of videos regarding the SSLC syllabus. After a long gap, I am going to study, that is, tell you about one of the important chapter in sociology, and that chapter is the second chapter called as labor. As far as this chapter is concerned, most of the concepts what you are going to study here, know here, that you already observed in your daily life. But here, from that daily life, we are going to correlate to the syllabus of this social science. First of all, if we want to know about the labor, the important concepts what we are going to learn in this chapter is the first one is division of labor. Division of labor. The first concept what we are going to learn in this chapter. Second concept is discrimination of labor. Discrimination of labor. And third concept what we are going to know here is labor with pay and without pay. Labor with pay and without pay. And next concept is about the labors of organized sector as well as unorganized sector. Labors of organized sector and unorganized sector. Unorganized sector. And the last concept what we are going to know in this chapter is challenges facing by the unorganized sector. Challenges facing by unorganized labors or sector. These are the concepts we are going to learn in this chapter about the division of labor, discrimination of labor, labor with pay and without pay, and labor of organized sector and unorganized sector, challenges facing by the unorganized sector. These things we are going to learn in this chapter. First, we take into the consideration the division of labor. How this concept of division of labor was developed, if we go into the past, how this concept was developed and who were the first to put the theories regarding the division of labor. In this category, the first person what we are going to know about is the Plato. I think already you came to know about this important political thinker, and the person belonged to the Greek, and he has written many books. Among those books, very important book written by this person was Republic. The Republic, the book written by Plato. In this book, he discussed about the division of labor, how this was developed. He says, it is a natural thing what we find in the society. In order to fulfill the various needs and wants of the people, here this concept of division of labor developed. What is the main thing? That is in order to fulfill needs of people. Very important concept that you have to remember is in order to fulfill the needs of the people, because there are various wants and needs of the people, and that may be related to the food aspect, that may be related to the cloth aspect, and even many other things which are needed by man in order to live. In order to provide those needs or the wants of the people, this kind of division of labor was started. For example, if we want to satisfy our hunger or the food concept, that we depend upon the farmers. And here one category of laborers, one category of people develop in the society, those are called as farmers. We are having a need of, there is a clouds And for that one, here the one category of people, one type of there is laborers who are developed. Those who are called as weavers. In order to stitch those clothes, the one category of people develop. Those who are called laborers are called as tailors. Like that, various professions, various type of labors who are started. Very important thing is in order to fulfill the needs of the people. It is about the statement, or it is about the saying of Plato, that is the division of labor is started in order to fulfill the needs of the people. Let's go to the another important thinker by name of Karl Marx. Karl Marx. This person is also very important that is a sociologist as well as even the revolutionist, and he has written many books, Das Kapital and Communist Manifesto. Many books were written by Karl Marx. Here, what this Karl Marx says? Karl Marx says that he classifies the society into two types of labors. He classifies the society into two types of labors. There are two types of labors will be in the society. One is called as economic concept of division of labor. Economic concept, and another one is he tells about the social concept. Economic basis or social basis is responsible in order to divide the labor. For economic concepts means here the society on the basis of profession and on the basis of earning method, it is divided into various types of society, that is economic basis is considered, and another one is social. And this social means on the basis of that is the status, or even what type of recognition is in the society about a particular category of people. These are the two bases here. Only just thing you have to remember is according to Marx, he divided he developed a theory, and the division of labor is based upon the economic concept as well as the social concept. This is the two important statements regarding the division of labor. One is of Plato and another one is of Karl Marx. After knowing this one, here let us go to know about the other various things of this chapter, particularly regarding the division of labor. Here different divisions are division of labor developed from various stages. In every stage there is a different concept of division of labor. Means in the primitive society, as well as in the medieval age, as well as in the modern age, and in the digital age, this concept of division of labor went on changes. As the society changes, the concept of division of labor also went on changes. Here in the early society, the division of labor is not having more complexities. But in the present society, we are having the more complexities in the division of labor. And here, if we take into the present age or digital age, what is this concept of division of labor in the digital age? Now here there is a classification of labor as well as division of labor is totally computerized. What it is? Computerized. That's why it is called as digitalization of division of labor. Computerized means with the help of computer we divide the various type of labors. The computer identify on their capacity of a labor or capacity of a person, and that person will be given a particular status or particular position in the category of labor. That is the digital age or computerized system. And even now we are having that is the information technology. It is the age of information technology. Means labors are categorized on computerized basis as well as information technology basis. Means if we want different kind of examples, earlier one doctor means he used to give treatment for many and so many diseases. But in the present age, for every disease there is a particular doctor or particular specialized person. For example, ENT, eyes, nose, tongue, like that. Even there is a separate doctors for the skin problem and hair problem. Many, that is for different kind of ailments or diseases, there are different doctors are there. Means division of labor is now more when we compare to the primitive society or the medieval society. Now we can find this kind of division of labor. Okay, it is this thing. And now from this concept, one thing we came to know, that is in the present division of labor, very important concept is the specialization. That is a specialization. Here, this specialization is responsible, it is a main concept in order to divide various type of labors. First we have to know about this specialization, how it is responsible, because what is the specialization? Specialization means deep knowledge on particular field. On a particular field, on a particular concept, a deep knowledge will be there. Like that is, if he is a doctor, means he has to get specialization in a particular kind of disease. If he is a technician, he is an engineer, means he has to get a specialization in particular that is kind of a field. That may be civil field, mechanical field, like that. Here in the present age, that is this specialization is very important, and that specialization is responsible in order to, that is divide the various type of labors. It is the main concept for the division of labor. One thing you have to remember, in the present society, what is the main criteria for division of labor? That is the specialization. And this division of labor is having various concepts. I will tell you with one of a table. Division of labor depends upon, this division of labor depends upon various that is concepts. One important one is it depends upon the age of a person. In what age, what type of capacity he is having, that also one of the important criteria to decide about the division of labor. And next one is the interest of a person. If you want, you can make this table in your book. That is age, interest, as well as even the gender, men or women. That also responsible in order to decide about the division of labor. Next is about the talent. Division of labor also depends upon the talent of a person, what kind of talents he is having, capacities are he is having, and next is what type of ability he is having, ability to do the work, and particular kind of skills, which type of skills he has developed, and even that is a specialization or special skill also. These are the various things what are we find in the division of labor. Division of labor is decided by all these factors on the wage factor, interest factor, gender factor, talent, ability, skill, as well as special knowledge about a particular kind of work. All these are responsible in order to decide about the division of labor. Okay, I think you came to know about what is division of labor and how this division of labor was put forward by the important persons like Plato as well as Karl Marx. Then we came to know about the how this division of labor went through various type of stages, as well as even this concept of specialization, which is very important in order to decide the division of labor, as well as what factors decides about the division of labor. After knowing this concept, in the beginning I told you the important concepts what we are going to learn in this chapter. The second one is inequality in labor. Inequality in labor. As in the beginning I told you the concepts what we are going to learn here. In those one, it is the second concept, inequality in labor. If we want to know more thing about this one, first thing, what is labor? What is labor, that we have to know the meaning of labor. Labor means it is a manual or intellectual function to earn, that may be in the form of cash or that may be in the form of kind. Manual and intellectual. Manual and intellectual function. Intellectual function to earn. Very important concept here is a manual or intellectual. That may be with the help of hands or any part of the body, as well as that may be physical kind of work, and intellectual means from the mind. Any kind of service or any kind of treatment given by the doctor or any kind of teaching given by the teacher. Like those are called as intellectual functions. Here, these are done. These are done for what purpose? In order to earn. And that earning will be in the form of kind, or that may be in the form of cash. Kind means that may be in the form of material, that may be in the form of grains or any kind of material, or that may be in the form of cash means a monetary benefit, or in the terms of rupees. Here, this is the manual or intellectual function which is done in order to earn that is in the form of kind or cash, that is called as a labor. Okay, here this in this earning, in this process, what we find, there is inequality. We find in every society, that may be modern society, advanced society, or a developing society, or underdeveloped society, one type of discrimination, one type of inequality will be there. And this is here we are going to know particularly about Indian context, Indian society, in what form it is in existence. And in India, it is this inequality became a part of our social life, or part of our society. And particularly when we go into the past, in that is ancient times, during that time also our society had this kind of inequality of labor, but that was given a color of caste. That was given a color of caste, and that is payment, or even the earnings of the people were depend upon the caste of that person. Caste was very important criteria, and even on the basis of religion, and even on the basis of gender, and all these are the factors which decided the labor's quality, or labor's position, or labor's earning. That is in Indian context, here the inequality was based upon the caste, religion, and gender. Okay, here in this category, first we are going to take a very important concept, how this gender is responsible for this inequality of labor. That is in gender means men and women. I think in your daily life you may have observed these things what now I am going to tell you. What those things? In our Indian society, the women labor is given very less salary, less wages, and that is not equal treatment as per the men. And here there is a dictum, there is a saying that equal work, equal pay. Equal work, equal pay. Here, equal work, equal pay. Any person who exercise the work or do the work for a particular kind of any kind of work in a same time, or in a same duration, in a same capacity, and that person is not given the equal work, equal pay compared to the other person. That is called as inequality. Here, as a woman is concerned in our Indian society, women are facing inequality. Women are facing the inequality. They are also performing the similar type of work. They are also performing the similar, that is the same time they are taking, same capacity, same production is there, that is they are also doing, then also they are paid very less compared to the men. That is called as inequality. That is called as inequality, and particularly this kind of inequality is found in more where that is unorganized sector, unorganized sector, and less in that is not in organized sector. In organized sector, we find very less inequality between no inequality between the men and women as the pay is concerned. But in the unorganized sector, it is more. If I want to give example to you, in your own surroundings, you may find, particularly in our region, as we know, that is having a more betel nut business here, or betel nut farms are there, areca nut farms are there. If the women are taken to the fields as well as men are taken to the fields for the work, the same type of work is done by both. But here for Gandal, that is the men, here 450 rupees per day will be given, and even the breakfast will be given, and even some type of that is a gudka and many things are given, that will cost more than 600 rupees per person. But the same type of work is performed by a woman, she will be given only 250 rupees. 250 rupees. That is a 50% less pay will be given. It is called as a discrimination and inequality that we find in our society. And this inequality in labor is also one of the important concept what we see in our Indian society. They are pay very less, and that payment will be based upon that is a sex of a person or gender of a person. Women are paid very less, and on the age basis also, if they are having if the children are taken to the work, that is illegal. Then also, if the children are taken to the work, they will be that is paid very less, and in order to get more benefit, they employ the children also. This is about the inequality of labor what we find, and this inequality also find among the educated and uneducated people. Educated and uneducated. Educated are paid more if the same type of work is performed, and uneducated are paid very less for the same type of work. It is also kind of inequality. For example, Safai Karamcharis, what is mentioned in the textbooks, they perform the work from the morning to the evening and continuous work, but they are paid very less. It is also one of the kind of economic inequality. And even in the professions also, for example, a primary school teacher who do the 6 to 7 that is periods per day, he will get very less amount of money, the salary when we compare to the high school level. If we compare the high school level to the college level, work is less, then also they are paid very more. And if they are compared to the that is degree colleges or university level, that will be also find economic inequality. That is the same performance, the same work they are performing for the same time, and then also they are treating in that manner. That also a concept of inequality in labor. These are the two important concepts what we came to know. And the third concept in this chapter is labor with pay and without pay. I think I reached to you in these two concepts. That is inequality in labor and division of labor. Let us go to the another important thing what we are going to learn from this chapter, that is called as labor. Labor with pay. Labor with pay and without pay. Without pay. Labor with pay and without pay. Pay means that is a salary, or that may be wages, and that is any work. If we work for a particular that is time in a particular field, that will be having a return, that is called as payment. That can be called as a compensation for our work. That is a compensation what we are getting from for our work, that is called as monetary benefit. And this is having two things. One is labor with pay and without pay. First of all, that is a labor without pay. If we take into consideration, the work is done. The work is done, and they are performing the service. They are giving the service. Then also they are not getting any kind of returns in the form of money, or in that maybe in the form of kind also. Without expecting any return, without getting any kind of benefit, they are working. That is called as without pay. Work without getting any returns, and that return in the form of money or kind. That kind of work is called as the labor without pay. Where you can find this kind of labors, particularly in your home also you can find such kind of people who work, but they are not expecting any kind of pay. Particularly your mother will be there, she is cooking the food and providing all kind of facilities to you, but she may not ask you the return in the form of money. That can also considered as a labor without pay. And even services rendered by NCC and NSS cadets, they also perform different kind of works, different kind of services, and we are not going to pay them, and they are not getting any kind of returns. That is also without pay. And even any kind of, that is these services for without pay will be for having any kind of attachment for the family, or even there will be attachment having any kind of there is sympathy, as well as even some people, in order to get status, recognition in the society, he is a good person and he is a social service person, like that, having in order to attain the status, some people work without having any kind of expectation or any kind of returns in the form of money or even in the form of kind. It is also there. And even sometimes it is because of the force also. In the primitive societies, in the early societies, you may know about the pharaohs. That is, they take the work from the slaves without giving the pay in order to construct the pyramids. And the kings used to get the different kind of work without getting without giving any kind of payment. That also considered as a labor without pay. Okay, this is the one thing. And this is very important. In this one is family-based work. Family-based work. What you are performing any kind of work in your family, you are not expecting any kind of return. You are not asking any kind of wages or salary, anything there. And best example is your mother will perform various kind of works there. It is a family-based work. That is a labor without pay. Now try to know about labor with pay. Labor with pay. In this one, here every type of work is for getting compensation. Getting compensation, or that may be called as for getting returns. That return will be in the form of wages. That will be in the form of salary or any type of benefit. Any type of material benefit that what you are going to work, that is called as a labor with pay. Total pay will be given to you on the basis of pay, on basis of time and type of work. What type of work you are performing, for how much time you are performing, on that basis compensation will be given to you. That is called as the labor with pay. And such kind of labors you can find more in our society. Many people who are working in a small businesses, as a carpenters, as a mechanics, as a masons, or different kind of professional people who are working and getting the wages or getting the salaries. That is called as labor with pay. And here it is a compensation. What already I told you, it is a compensation, and that compensation is between, it is a agreement. It is a agreement between the employer and employee. employer and employee. These two persons will be there, and agreement is between the employer and employee, who is taking the work and who is doing the work. Then there is agreement. I will do this much kind of work and this type of work, and you have to give me this much of money. It is an agreement what which takes place between the two person, the person who is taking the work and the person who is doing the work. And it is also called as a labor with pay. And here these are the important concepts what already we came to know about. That is the labor with pay and without pay. And next concepts are about the labors from organized sector as well as the unorganized sector. The next concept here is the labors of organized sector and unorganized sector. The next concept of this chapter is laborers from organized sector and laborers from unorganized sector. Laborers from organized sector and unorganized sector. Here, these are the two types of laborers what we come from, what we that is know about the laborers from organized sector and unorganized sector. Which is called as organized sector and which one is called as unorganized sector. First, organized sector means that sector which is having the legal bonding as well as in a systematic manner they employ the laborer as well as they pay the wages and even that is salaries. These laborers from organized sector, they have different aspects. First one is they enrolled as per law. Enrolled as per law. And it is these laborers are working in such a kind of organization which has got registration. Such a kind of institution or such a kind of organization where they work, that is having a enrolled as per law as well as that has a registration and register with the government. That's why they had to follow the rules and regulations. They had to follow rules and regulations. While appointing those people or even providing the facilities to those laborers, they had to follow certain rules and regulations. And in this one, we can find the wages of the laborers or the salaries of the laborers will be fixed one. Their fixed wages or fixed salaries. Whatever compensation they get for their work, that will be fixed one. And sometimes they cannot be decreased the wages, and sometimes they can be increased. But because of any reason they cannot decrease that one. That is a fixed wages they will get. And the minimum wages act will be applied here. Minimum wages act. Minimum wages act will be applied on those one which was passed in the year 1971. As per this act, the wages will be fixed and that kind of wages which will be helpful for them to lead a comfortable life, to assess the various basic needs and necessities of the life. That much of wages they had to get according to the law. And if any kind of violation will be there, they can approach the court and they can get the legal protection for their job as well as the wages. And where these kind of organized sector or the organized workers will be there. Here particularly these will be in industries, in large scale and as well as small scale industries. There they had to get various type of facilities as well as fixed wages will be there, and the wages cannot be decreased whenever the employer wants. This is the industries as well as educational institutions, particularly the government institutions as well as even the hospitals as well as even the other sectors like banking. These are the sectors where they get the all kind of protection from the law, all kind of legal protection will be there, and these institutions have their registration with the government, and that's why they cannot violate the rules and regulation. And here they have to get the permission of the government to run their institutions, as well as they have to give the facilities as per the law. That may be provident fund and even the pension facilities and medical facilities, health facilities, and such kind of facilities they have to give to their laborers or the employees. This is the way called as a organized sector. Here the relationship between the employer and employed is guided by the legal rules. The relation, what type of relations are between the employer, and those relations are guided by the legal rules. They cannot violate the legal rules. That is called as a organized sector. To sum up, here again I want to tell you, laborers from the organized sectors are those laborers who work in a particular kind of institutions or particular kind of places where those institutions or those industries has to get enrolled as per law. They have to get the registration of the government, and they have to abide and follow rules and regulations, and they have to give the fixed wages, as well as those wages are according to the Minimum Wages Act, and that may be act may be go on amendment as per the pending economic conditions. The wages will be get revised, and according to that revisal of the wages they have to give. And such kind of people, such kind of laborers are found in which field? Means in the industries, education institutions, hospitals, banking, insurance companies, and many more sectors are there. Those are considered as the organized sector. Even we can take into example the army people or the defense forces, and the government sector or administrative sector. They are called as the organized sector. It is about this one. Let us go to know about the laborers of the unorganized sector. Laborers of the unorganized. Unorganized sector. After knowing about the organized sector, here unorganized sector is such a kind of sector where the registration is not required, and there is no any particular kind of legal rules and regulation will be there, and here the relationship between the employer as well as the employee are different when we compare to the organized sector. Here there is no any kind of legal protection. No legal protection will be there for the laborers. Legally, here many things will be hidden, as well as they are not come into the boundary of legal rules and regulations. And here this is the relation between the employer and employee is not guided by the rules and regulations, and no registration is also required here. No registration required in this sector. No registration is required here, as well as in the organized sector we can find the government give facilities, as well as they impose the taxes also. In this one, no taxes will be there. No taxes. They are not paying any kind of taxes. It is also the unorganized sector, and here this kind of which kind of laborers comes in this sector? Here the minor business, as well as even the small the cottage industries or household industries, cottage industries, and even the garages, carpenters, and different kind of small business, vegetable sellers, on the footpath, even those people who carry their materials on their head and sell in the streets, those are having those are considered as unorganized sector. They are not that is binded by or guided by the rules and regulation. No legal procedure will be there, no registration will be there, and no taxes will be imposed upon them. This is a kind of unorganized sector, and there is no any fixed time and no fixed wages. No fixed wages will be there. The wages will be differ from time to time. Whenever they want, they can give more wages, and sometimes they can also reduce the wages. It is depend upon the employer, that is who is employing the laborers. It is to the part of that employer. He can increase or can decrease. It is also here. And no any kind of facilities what we find in the organized sector, no medical facilities or no any kind of PF facilities, no PF facilities or provident fund facilities will be there, no pension will be there, and this kind of sector is having the majority of workers are found in this sector. Nearly that is more than 50% of the laborers or near 70% of the laborers who are working, and those are considered as the unorganized sector. And majority of the people or majority of the laborers belong to this sector. And now in this in this chapter, the next concept what we have to know about is what are the challenges facing by the unorganized sector laborers. The challenges facing by these laborers. What are the problems they are facing? Because as majority of the laborers belong to this sector, we have to know about what are the challenges they are facing, the problems they are facing, challenges facing by unorganized sector. Among the many problems what they are facing, the first is the migration, the problem of migration. As you know, the meaning of the migration means one person who that is leaving his original place and go to the another place, that is called as a migration. And the unorganized sector is having the major problem of the laborers is the migration. Because in the search of work, they have to go from one place to another place. They have to migrate for search of work, because continuously they may not get the work in the same place. And for some months or some days they get the work in one place. After that they have to go for another place in searching of the job or the searching of the work. That is the major problem. They cannot get the continuous work in a one place. They have to migrate from one place to another place. It is also they have many family problems. They have to shift their families. They have to shift their children and providing the education to their children. So many problems will come because of the migration. That is the first challenge what is the unorganized laborers are facing. And next one is the social security. Social security. Their job is a lack of security. There is no security for their job. It is depends upon the that is the wish of the employer. Whenever he want, he can keep that employee. That is and the laborers, and whenever he want, he can remove them. And there is no any kind of security of job. And even in any kind of incident that maybe an accident took place while working or any kind of unwanted things took place, at that time they will not get any kind of security. There is no any kind of medical security, pension security, and there is even they have to face so many problems because there is no any kind of legal protection also to them, and they depend upon the wish of the challenge. What is facing by the laborers of unorganized sector is the child labor. Child labor. Child labor. Child labor means the children who are employed for work who are under 14 years of age. Those are called as child labor. In the unorganized sector, many children are working, and even they are working in a very hazardous job, very dangerous type of jobs, that may be in making the crackers or explosives, and even they are working in the garages, and in similar type of works they are working, and even they are exploited in a very huge manner, because they will be paid less, and they can be from them they can get more work. It is because of that reason many people adopt the child labor for making their business profitable, and this is a problem of this unorganized sector. The child labor will be there, and even because as they have no any kind of procedure of registration, there is no any kind of legal bindings, and because of that reason illegally they will employ the children. It is also one of the problem what is facing in the unorganized sector. And the last problem what the unorganized sector is facing, that is the physical and mental exploitation. Physical and mental exploitation. In the unorganized sector, as they are not bounded by any kind of legal rules, they are responsible for the physical exploitation of the laborers. How physical exploitation means? Getting more work, as well as there is no any kind of fixed hours of work. They can get more work from the laborers. So physically it is not good for the laborers. It is also one of the problem. And mentally also the problems will be created, particularly for the women who are working as a housemaid or house helpers in the houses. They are working as a house helpers. They are subject to different kind of exploitation. They get very meager amount of money, very less wages they will be given, as well as they are getting more work from the they have to work more hours. And even sometimes they are also subjected to the sexual exploitation from their owners. These are the different kind of problems what the unorganized sector workers are facing. And to sum up, I will tell this is the various problems which are facing by the unorganized sector. One is the migration. In the search of the work, they have to migrate from one place to another place because they cannot get the continuous work in a particular place. It is because of this migration, their family has to face many problems. And next one is there is no any kind of social security, no any kind of social protection will be there, because in any case of accidents or any kind of that is the incidents, they will not get any kind of protection. It is also the social security, no pension, and no any kind of allowances will be provided to them. And the child labor is another one problem. Child labor means because in order to get more benefit, more profit, the employer employ the children and get the work, and there is no any kind of legal protection. As well as the last one is physical and mental exploitation. Here mentally as well as physically they are exploited. Particularly we refer here for the domestic helpers or the women who help work in the houses as housemaid. They are subjected to various type of exploitation. That may be mental exploitation, physical exploitation, as well as sexual exploitation will be there. This is the very important chapter for you, as this chapter is having very more correlation to the your already these things you observed in your home, in the society, and those you have to put in your writing. And this is one of the important chapter as far as the sociology is concerned. And for a long gap I made this video. Again, if you support me, and if you have any support from various viewers, further videos I am going to make. Thank you.